a story you'll see only right here on Fox 2, a love triangle involving police officers ending with an armed standoff.
Investigators say this could have turned into a murder case, and more than once. Fox 2's Taryn Asher live in Centerline tonight with details. Taryn?
Yeah, we are live in Centerline because this is where it all took place. You have quite a relationship here. You have a former Highland Park police officer, his wife, and then their girlfriend, who happens to be a police officer in Highland Park as well. In this case, a recipe for disaster, with jealousy taking a front seat. And when he tried to add another woman into this mix, it got even worse.
When I went to look around, I looked in the trash can. I first found receipts for different things, and then I looked again and I found a used condom in the trash.
And that's what set off this domestic drama involving former Highland Park Police Reserve Officer James Johnson, who has now been charged with trying to kill his wife and their lover, another Highland Park police officer, Vere Roberson.
We had a threesome back in June. I gave in to my husband, thinking that was keep my husband at home, and instead this is what it brought me.
After discovering the condom that mid-November day, Vivian Johnson called over Vere Roberson to their Centerline home, angry he had been with yet another woman. She claims they confronted him in the bedroom, and the argument got heated fast. James started to attack Vere, who he first met while he was on the Highland Park police force.
She was like this, "James, I got a son." That's what she kept screaming. And before I knew it, I saw the gun drawn. I'm right here by the dresser. Here's the bullet hole right here.
James fired and luckily missed his wife. He took off, but not for long. According to court transcripts, the women took a bath together, got ready, and just as they were walking out of the house, James appeared in the garage with his gun drawn. Someone called Centerline police, who were luckily just down the street and arrived just in time. James was pointing a gun at his wife. The Highland Park police officer girlfriend was pointing her gun at James.
He was saying, "I'm going to kill you," to both females. Obviously, it was a very stressful situation, and our officers de-escalated it. They commanded the people to drop their weapons. It was a life and death situation. And if guns weren't lowered at that time, it could have been a very tragic outcome.
James then barricaded himself inside his home. Officers were eventually able to coax him out and bring him into custody. But this isn't the first time police were called to their Centerline home. Vivian Johnson wanted us to conceal her identity, but we found her mugshot after we learned she was charged last summer for shooting at her husband, right around the same time James resigned from the Highland Park Police Department.
I went to jail back in June, the end of June, because he and I got into it, and yes, I discharged my firearm. And I was dismissed without prejudice, and now this.
Vivian says her marriage is over, but this case is far from it. James learned Tuesday he's heading to trial. As for Officer Roberson, she's still on the job at the Highland Park Police Department.
I want her to pay as well. If he's going to pay, she should pay.
You know, I spoke to the chief at the Highland Park Police Department, and Chief Coney told me that his officer is still on the job. This was a personal issue, something that happened on off time. It was an issue that we needed to ask that question, especially because there was a gun involved, and she did pull hers during this situation. Now, as for James Johnson, he was bound over for trial today. His bond, cash surety bond, set at $700,000. If he does get out, the judge ruled no contact with his wife or his girlfriend. Monica?
Well, Taryn, you mentioned that the off-duty officer had her gun drawn as well. Why isn't she being charged in this?
Well, apparently the police here say that she lowered it when she was asked to, that she actually tried to help defuse the situation, and she was a victim in this as well. Obviously, Mrs. Johnson does not agree. When you have three involved, there is certainly some bad blood there. Back to you.
Very complicated. All right, thanks for that live report, Taryn.